This is April 1st. Your learning target is I can explain different connotations of a word based on context. One thing that MAP will ask you to do is use an excerpt from a dictionary to answer some questions. We don't use a paper dictionary very often. We more often Google a definition, use context clues, or ask someone. Today we're going to do a quick practice to make sure we feel confident answering those questions. Okay, so first we're going to read and annotate the dictionary entry. Look for what information is included. So look here, this is volcano. It's a noun, which is the part of speech. This shows how you pronounce it. So if you break it down into syllables, it'll be volcano. Here's the first definition where it says one. A vent in Earth's crust through which molten lava and gases are ejected. Red Mountain in northern Arizona is one of many mountains that formed as a result of a volcano. Definition 2, something with explosive potential. Before World War II, Germany was a volcano of unrest. So then right here in this box, write what information is included in the dictionary entry. When you're done with that, we'll move on. On MAP, you will be asked to use dictionary definitions in a variety of ways. All of these questions are pretty easy. They're basically just checking to see that you actually read the dictionary entry. Take 2 minutes to try the first one on your own. So we're on number 1. Read the sentence below. Then use the dictionary entry from above to help you answer. The pep rally was a volcano of excitement as students waited to learn the MAP theme. Which definition of a volcano is being used in the student sentence? So if we look back at definition 1, it's talking about like the actual volcano you would think of that has like lava. So that doesn't make sense. So we can cross out A for definition 1 because definition 1 is about a literal volcano that shoots lava, and students cannot turn into actual volcanoes. So then if we look back at definition 2, it's saying something with explosive potential. And so that would be the correct definition because it's saying like all that excitement that the students have is something that's like hyped up and explosive. All right, let's go down to our next question. Question 2. Read the dictionary entry below, then answer the question that follows. So we can see our dictionary is insipid. I know how to pronounce it because right here it breaks down insipid. It's an adjective, which is a descriptive word. And the definition of insipid, number 1, is lacking taste or savor. So it's tasteless. The example is insipid food. Our definition number 2 is lacking in qualities that interest, stimulate, or challenge. Dull, flat. The example is insipid prose, which prose means like speech. So it would be like a boring or dull speech. All right, so let's look at the question. Which sentence uses the word insipid correctly? A, the class was not interesting to me, so I thought it was an insipid. That's incorrect because the dictionary tells us that insipid is an adjective, but the way that this person used it in sentence A, they used it as a noun, so that can't be right. Let's look at B. That ice cream was the best I've ever eaten. It was insipid. So think, if that person is saying it's the best ice cream they've ever eaten, would it be insipid or tasteless? C, she never had anything new to add to the conversations, so I thought she was an insipid person. So think, does that make sense to describe her as insipid person if she had nothing new to add to the conversations? D, after we ironed the shirt, it lay flat and was insipid. So can we say that the shirt is not interesting after it's being ironed. So think which would be the best answer, B, C, or D. If you chose answer C, then you are correct. Let's go down to number 3. Read the dictionary entry below, then answer the questions that follow. Camaraderie. So again, I can see how we break it. Camaraderie. It's kind of weird. Camaraderie. The definition of camaraderie is a spirit of friendly good fellowship. Which student used the word camaraderie correctly in their sentence? A. She was a camaraderie person. She was always the life of the party. B. My best friend and I struggled with camaraderie. We had a lot of fun together, but I was never sure if I could trust him. I crossed out C, which says there was a feeling of camaraderie on the camping trip. No one spoke to each other and everyone was frustrated. That's incorrect because the definition tells us that camaraderie has to do with being friendly, and not talking to each other on a camping trip is the opposite of friendly. D. Camaraderie is an important value in our church. People frequently invite each other over for meals and help out in times of need. So make your choice for A, B, or D. And then we'll go on to the next page. So down here, for the first paragraph, it says, with these questions, it's really easy to go straight to the multiple choice, but that can actually confuse us. Today, we're going to try to retrain our brains a little to use our imaginations first. You won't get to see the multiple choice answers until you've thought and written about this for yourself. We are going to model the first one for you. We are going to use the same skills we use in our preview and predict for a text. We take information that has been given to us and use it to help us understand more. So first we're going to read the paragraph. I woke up this morning to a world of white. 6 inches of snow had fallen overnight. The snow was bright and pretty. I jumped out of bed and put on warm clothes. I couldn't wait to go outside and play. The question is, which revisions of the underlined sentence add the most detail to the paragraph? Choose 2 answers. So first, before we even look at the answer choices, we're going to fill out this chart. So the first part of the chart is based on the passage, what other details do you have? So from reading the paragraph, we know that snow is white. There was 6 inches of snow. It is morning. It's bright, pretty, and cold. And then we're going to use our background knowledge and how else could we imagine it. So we might say that snow is sparkly and magical. Sky would be blue and it would be sunny. There would be snow coating the trees and the houses, and it would be quiet and peaceful. So these are the things we can get directly from the text. Like we can pick out that it says the snow is white. There's 6 inches of snow. And then these are the things that we use from our imagination. So like when you picture a snowy scene, like the author is describing, how can we use our imagination to figure out what they're talking about? So now that we've completed our chart, we can look at the multiple choice answers. So right here, which revisions of the underlined sentence add the most detail to the paragraph? So this is the part where we're adding in like our imagination to make the sentence more stronger and more interesting to read. So this sentence right here is what we're looking at. It just says the snow was bright and pretty. So that's like kind of a boring sentence. You don't really get much imagination into it. So we're going to try to add some more. The sun shone on the white snow. That's still kind of boring. The snow glittered like diamonds in the sun. So you can get like more of your imagination because you're thinking like, wow, the snow looks like diamonds. C, The snow had stopped falling and was lovely to see. It's kind of just like saying what's going on. D, the snow was so beautiful because of the bright sun. Again, it's kind of boring. E, the brilliant sun was reflected by the pure white snow. So we can see in this one, we're adding more descriptive words. So we use brilliant to describe the sun instead of just saying sun. And then we say pure white instead of just saying snow. So let's go down to our notes for where it says teacher thinking. When we do this, we're using the same skills we use in preview and predict for a text. We take the information that we've been given and use it to help us understand more. The author says that the snow was bright. If that is the case, what can you infer about what the weather is like? It must be sunny. When it's still cloudy after it snows, it is gray and can be gloomy. When the snow has fallen and it is sunny, what does it look like? Sparkly, the light reflects off of it, so the day seems extra bright, etc. Now we have a much stronger description of the snow, and is still based really well on our author's description. So when we answer the multiple choice question, we know that the answer would be B and E. We know the answer is B because it says the snow glitters in the sun. Just like how we identified it, it was bright and could be sparkly. We know the answer is also E because the sun was out and it was creating a really bright scene. So now it's your turn to practice filling out the chart and answering the questions. So we'll go down to question 1. The paragraph says, a student is writing an opinion paper for a teacher about obesity in the United States. Read the draft of the paper and answer the question that follows. Feeling full? Over the last 20 years, the amount of food being served has increased dramatically. Fast food restaurants want to supersize everything from your sandwich to your fries and even your drink. These big portions are a contributing factor to obesity in the United States. Which more exact word best replaces the underlined word? So right here, we're thinking of big, but first we're going to fill out the chart. So based on the passage, what details do you already have? So you want to think of, what does this paragraph tell you? What details you already have? Go ahead and write some of those down. I already did 2 examples on this side, so remember this is like our imagination. So we're thinking that the amount of food that we're getting is very large. When we get food, everything is in large portions or huge portions. So you can add some details from the text, and then you can also add more of your imagination. And then we'll go down to the multiple choice. Which more exact word best replaces the underlined word? So we have A, small, B, tiny, C, fabulous, D, immense. So remember, we're replacing the word big. So we know that A and B are incorrect because small and tiny are the opposite of big. C is incorrect because just because something is fabulous, it does not mean it's big. So now we can look at D and we see immense. Even if you don't know what the word immense means, we kind of already crossed out the other ones by using process of elimination because we know it can't be small, tiny, or fabulous. So we can choose immense. And then for those of you that do know what immense means, we know that immense means big and large. So that's the word that we're looking for. Let's go down to question 2. The student is writing a story for language arts class about babysitting his younger brothers. Read the draft of the story and complete the task that follows. Michael did not like to watch his younger brothers. They were often bad when his parents went out, and they did not listen. His grandmother would be in the next room, but he did not want to disturb her. He took pride in being able to take care of them by himself. Still, he knew he would have a headache by the time they went to bed. All his brothers wanted to do was run around the house, chasing each other and squealing with laughter. Michael was going to have to come up with some new ways to entertain them, or it was going to be a very long evening. Read the underlined sentence from the paragraph. Choose 2 words that would be more precise to replace bad, and listen in the paragraph. So first, fill out your chart. What details do we already know? And then what can we imagine this? So some imagination things I came up with is that his brothers are horrible and awful to be around, and his brothers misbehave when his parents are gone. So when you're done filling out the chart, we can go down here. Read the underlined sentence from the paragraph. Choose 2 words that would be more precise to replace bad, and listen in the paragraph. So first, we're going to just look at bad. Would it be better to say awful, naughty, or wrong? So thinking about how their brothers are acting, would you say that they're acting awful, they're acting naughty, or they're acting wrong? Make your best choice. And then we're going to go to listen. Hear, notice, obey. So Michael said that his brothers did not listen. What is a better word to say other than listen? That his brothers didn't hear, his brothers didn't notice, or his brothers didn't obey. So when you're done choosing those answers, you can go explaining your thinking. So right here, the word that means the same thing as bad in the sentence is blank. So write which word you chose, and then the word that means the same thing as listen in this sentence, choose which word. And then think about what words could you cross off right away. So looking at the answer choices, which words didn't make sense to you? Fill out those parts. Then we'll go down to the next page. Okay, right here. First, we're going to read the dictionary definition and then complete the task. 1. To search into or examine thoroughly, question closely. Choose the word in the sentence that most closely matches the definition provided. Now we're reading here. To probe how elephants solve problems, the researcher and his colleagues tested Kandula and 2 other National Zoo elephants, Kandula's mother, 33, and his 61-year-old elephant neighbor in a series of experiments. First, the scientists placed trays of fruit outside the animal's enclosure. The food was just out of reach. They also placed some sticks nearby. The elephants tried but failed to get the treat. They never used the sticks to draw the closer food. Okay, so now what we're doing here is we are choosing which word matches the definition. So our definition up here, to search into or examine thoroughly or question closely. Does that definition match to probe, tested, experiments, or reach? I already crossed out experiments for you. The way I knew it wasn't experiments was because here, this little V, that means that the word is a verb, which is an action word. So a verb could be like running, walking, jumping. And in this sense, experiments is a noun. So it can't be experiments, so it's going to be one of these other ones. So A, B, or D. Make your choice. Okay, when you're done with that, we'll move on to the next one. A student is writing a personal narrative for his teacher about a camping trip. Read the draft and answer the question that follows. Too much camping. Mom and I went camping last week. We arrived at the campground a lot later than we expected. We got right to work, but setting up a tent in the dark was hard. We dropped one of the tent poles and had to crawl around on our hands and knees to find it. I'd never realized just how dark it is in the woods. Mom kept tripping over the rocks and stumbling around. It seemed impossible to snap the poles together without being able to see them. It took forever. I was never so happy to climb in my sleeping bag, close my eyes, and relax. Read the sentence from the paragraph. We got right to work, but setting up a tent in the dark was hard. Which word would be a more exact word for hard in this sentence? So we're looking for which word could we use for hard. Could it be weird, boring, strange, or exhausting? So I think he's saying setting up the tent was hard. So would it make sense to be setting up the tent was weird? Setting up the tent was boring? Setting up the tent was strange? Or setting up the tent was exhausting? Go ahead and make your choice. And that's it for today.